Okay, Chris coming back with you on CC's Aquatic Adventures. It's been a while. It's been about 7 days since I made a video, and obviously the last video we did, it was about the Shibunkin cat goldfish that jumped out of the pond. We think it jumped out. We're not 100% sure. We do realize that there's a cat out there now. There's a stray cat. This cat could have got him, which I'm thinking that's probably a good possibility. But we learned our lesson. We put a mesh cover over it, and we haven't had a problem since. Now there's 4 goldfish left in there, so hopefully we can keep them alive and maybe get another Shibunkin next year, or when we bring them inside, I might pick one up at the fish store. We'll see what happens. We still have to make a trip out there. My wife promised me, so we'll figure that out eventually. But everyone around in this neighborhood knows about Mark, so they had like a little, there was a eulogy and all kinds of stuff. So everyone was engaged about Mark, and everyone wanted to see what was going on. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. So if you don't know the story, go back and look at my videos. Look up Mark. It's the goldfish that we won at the carnival, and my wife won, and we named him, and we got him a home. And I was pretty much challenged because they say those goldfish never last, and they do last if you give them a good home. But that one was my fault. He jumped out, but you could make him a home, and they could live very, very comfortably if you put them in a pond or if you put them in the right situation. So anyway, I'm in the fish garage. The fish garage is, I usually don't turn the lights on until about 3 o'clock, but I did turn the lights on just to make this video for these two tanks. That's the 55-gallon with the cichlids in it, and then this is the 15-gallon high, which is kind of a rare tank. It's got a rare system on it. It's an Eclipse system. If you guys are familiar with these, I actually got this system at an old, it was a, pretty much, it wasn't a auction, but it was a person getting rid of all of his equipment, and I pretty much got this stuff for almost free. So you can see this is where the filter goes. The lights in the same, actually the lights into here. So the lights in the same system. There's 2 different plugs. As you can see, I run the polyfill, and there's some ceramic media I got back there too. I always keep ceramic media in here just to keep the bacteria. But it's a pretty simple system. I do have a heater in there. Now, the polyfill, and I always mention to you guys, I don't do a lot of maintenance in this tanks. I change the polyfill maybe once every couple of weeks. Once a month. I do a water change about once a month. Actually, I change the polyfill every couple of weeks. I shouldn't say once a month. Probably every couple of weeks, whenever it gets pretty dirty. But that's the way I run my tanks. Very, very little maintenance. I also told you guys about this tank, and that's one of the reasons why I put this tank in this video, because I wanted to keep updating you guys on the algae that was in here. There's obviously a lot of algae. We put a couple of ram's horn snails in here. I got there's a Nerret snail, which I love. Nerret snails are the best if you want to get rid of green algae. I see guys all the time clean the green algae like once a week. They always say turn your lights off. I like to keep my lights on. And there's a lot of flow in here, so that creates a lot of algae. Lots of light, lots of flow. You'll get more algae. And I originally had, when I first showed you guys this tank a couple weeks ago, we had some zebra loaches in here, which I love. I did have a real bad outbreak of trumpet snails, so I usually get those guys to eat them. All my tanks, those 2 there. That one there. No, that one doesn't have them. Those 2 there, and I think a couple tanks downstairs have the zebra loaches, because they do kill the trumpet snails. Again, this is why I say ecosystem. Those guys can eat snails, but if you want to keep snails, you can't keep them with zebra loaches. You got to get rid of the zebra loaches, which I did. I moved them downstairs to 15-gallon, which has some issues with trumpet snails. Those have dissipated. Now I just got in here. There's 8 rummy-nosed tetras. There was 9. And there's a gold cloud minnow, or white cloud minnow, brilliant rasboras, and there is a flying fox in here. If you could find him, I don't know where he is. He was hiding before. I don't see him in there right now. Let's see if we can find him real quick. He's not much fish in here. He usually hangs out and takes care of all the algae. He's down there behind the rock. You can see he's kind of hidden down there. You can see him behind there. He likes to hide. He's underneath there. He's a guy I keep. I keep flying foxes and Siamese algae eaters for black algae. This tank has no black algae in it. He ate all black algae. But you have to make sure that if you keep these guys, that you keep them busy. So you could, you make sure you feed them. I feed them blowworms. They can get a little bit aggressive. You have to keep an eye on them. I noticed that Siamese algae is more aggressive than flying foxes. So I keep flying foxes in the tanks that have smaller fish. I did have a Siamese algae eater in the 55 in the 40-gallon guppy tank. I moved them into that tank there. You can't really see them. I have the lights off, but I do keep them. And again, that's all part of the ecosystem. If you want to keep a healthy tank and a tank that pretty much self-sufficient, you always want to have something in your tanks to eat whatever can be eaten. Like I also keep wood in here too for the snails, so they, in case when they run out of algae, they can eat the wood. You can see the flying fox right there. Now, if I do have a breakout of black algae, I'll move the flying fox, but only for that specific purpose. But I also like them because they're really good scavengers, and they're really good to watch. I love watching them. So I do keep them on occasion. Like I said, zebra loaches, we move them. And if you guys ever want to have a really good ecosystem, you always want to keep a bottom feeder too. Cories, Citodonus catfish. There's a lot of catfish that eat off the bottom. The catfish that eat at the bottom, you can look them up. I don't have a lot of them. I do have a Citodonus in here. I have 2 of them, and I have a lot of cories. I do keep a lot of cories. So, yeah, that's pretty much a good ecosystem. You know, bottom feeders, algae eaters, snails specifically. And you go also auto sinklets are good. Plecos, I use plecos in this tank down here, or that right there, which keeps the tank pretty clean. Bristlenose plecos are good for algae. They're more for like the brown algae you get. That's what I like to use for brown algae, but they also eat other stuff too. They'll eat if you put cucumber in there, you can put cucumber, any type of vegetable, zucchini, they'll eat that. Also the pleco wafers they'll eat. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we do. There was a catfish, there was a Pictus catfish we used to keep, but I don't recommend Pictus catfish, especially if you have smaller tanks. If you have a bigger tank, maybe, but the problem with Pictus catfish is that they like to jump. And they get a little crazy up and down the glass, and they're just crazy fish, and they tend to jump. And they need a bigger tank. So 15 gallons is kind of small for them. But so that's the 15-gallon high. Like I said, it's a rare tank. You don't see 15-gallon highs that much. The only 15 gallons we see would be like a high cube or a 15-gallon. I mean, there's very rarely you see a 15-gallon tank. But that's why I kept this tank up and running. The brilliant rasboras and the white club, I don't think that they're schooling fish. They always stay together. The Rominos are just my favorite fish. I love to do. If I had more room, you can see the flying fox getting a little crazy. He does get a little bit. He's getting a little irritated. So he does kind of get aggressive, but we'll have to watch that if he does. But maybe he just kind of wants to hide. But anyway, get back to the Rominos. They're my favorite Tetras. I see people on the internet all the time or Facebook saying that they have a problem with. There's a ram's one snare right there, guys. They look real close. They're really cool. But you know, we also have a mystery snail here too. I forgot to tell you. I'm not sure what a mystery snail is. He's probably hiding there somewhere. Don't really see him anywhere, but he's probably underneath that rock there. I really can't tell. I don't see him in there, but he's in there somewhere. I think I might have saw him on top. Right there. He's right there. Yeah. Anyway, the Rummy Nose Tetras, I love to have like 150 gallon and put just like 100 Rummy Nose Tetras in there. I would love to do that. Maybe some blue Tetras, but yeah. Rummy Nose Tetras are great. They're hardy. But I heard people getting crazy, not happy with you know, with Rummy Nose on Facebook or whatever. I never had a problem with them, but you know, there's always a fish that people have problems. Like I can't keep clown loaches. I don't believe I have a big enough tank to clean clown loaches. And I've had issues. I've had them before, but I've always had some stuff with them, epsilysis, or they've always had for me because they're scaleless. They kind of get ick more often. That fish I have a hard time with, but like this fish here. As long as you keep the water good and you keep them flowing, they're very, 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 very good fish. And they also tell you when they're sick. If they're red on the nose is gone, there's something wrong with your tank. That's how I know if I got to do a water change in this tank. I mean, I really don't have to do water changes, honestly, because of filtration I got. But I do anyway. I do 15%, 20% in this tank. But anyway. Yeah, so that's pretty much that tank there. That's what we have. I'm probably going to add a beta fish in there. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. This tank here is a 55 gallon, okay? This is where we keep all the cichlids. Now, for some reason, these guys are all on the bottom of the tank. I think because we just turned the lights on. Let's make sure the filter's on. We got a sponge filter in there. Yeah, the filters are going pretty good. But these guys are... I just turned the light on, so it looked like they're kind of not happy. Anyway, so what's in here? Got a Jack Dempsey. Oh, sorry, I moved down. This is just a tank. We had a bunch of cichlids in it. You can't really see them swimming, but if you look down there closely, back there, there's green Tetra. There's Jack Dempsey. There's an African cichlid, then a black one that I have had for a long time. He's back there. You can't really see him. These guys here, the striped ones, obliques. Don't know how to say the whole word, but they're obliques. There's a polar convict in there. There's two obliques. See, one there, one back there, and there's a red tail. Not a red tail, a red tail shark. And then there's a pleco in there somewhere. I'm not sure where the pleco is, right down there. So there's not many fish in here. This tank is gonna go bye-bye. Once I get rid of once I find a bigger tank, I'll move these guys to a bigger tank with the jaguars and probably the geophagus. So we'll make a big tank, and then this tank's gonna go. So this tank is not much to update on. They're all laying down the bottom of the tank because I guess they're kind of scared, but or I just turned the light on, so they're not used to the lights being on until about 3 o'clock. So, but this is like this is the leftovers of what I had of the cichlids. Unfortunately, when we moved all the cichlids, I kept these guys. We lost 2 of the Africans that were in here, and there was another one that I had for a long time. And another one too. I think there's 4 or 5 Africans I lost in the move, and I had to move that yellow fish. If you guys remember, go back to my videos. There's a yellow African cichlid that was beating everybody up in here. I actually moved him to Vance's tanks with all the frontosas and the leperinus and the red devil. They all went to one tank, and unfortunately, they killed the yellow guy. But that yellow guy was being a real jerk to that tank too, and he picked on the arowana. I think the arowana beat him up, or something happened to him. So he didn't make it. He lost. He pretty much lost out. That's what happens when you have aggressive fish. It's hard to keep them, you know. And then if they get aggressive to the wrong fish, they could die. So, like I said, I like to have a tank where a lot of these fish in here are South American. And I also have a Pseudodonus in it. That Pseudodonus is in there somewhere. I can't see him in there. If you look real close at the back of his tail, you can see he's a striped black Pseudodonus. He's been in there forever. And he's a bottom feeder, like the pleco. You can see there's no algae in this tank. There's very little waste in the bottom, or very little uneaten food, but there is some down there, but because I fed them early this morning. But that's pretty much it with this tank. This tank will be going out of here. I don't do much to this tank. I just do water changing because of the bigger fish. So they're all hiding right now, unfortunately. When I did this video, I was kind of hoping that they would get up. But if I go down here, let's see if I can get, if I go down here, these guys come out maybe. Yeah, see, there's the African sea, the black one I had for a while. There's a red tail. So they're kind of moving right now, but they, like I said, they're kind of, they kind of just woke up, so I don't really want to go too crazy with them. But that really not too exciting with this tank. Like I said, I want to do these two tanks because they're very, not much going on. But like I said, once we update and get a bigger tank, we'll be moving these guys, and this tank will be gone. This tank, 55 gallon, will be out of here. I'll actually be moving this 55 here. I'll be selling whatever's easy to do. I might, but this tank is gonna be gone. This whole stand will be gone. Just the tank will be going down here. So we keep the 55 gallon down here, but this one standing in the corner is gonna be gone. So we'll put a 125 there, and we'll probably move the 20 gallon on this wall back there. And then we're going to keep the 150 or bigger 6-foot tank against this wall. So that's the plan. That's always been a plan. I just need to find the right deal. I'm not going to spend $500 on a used tank. I just won't do it. Once I find the right one, I will move this stuff around. Like I said, this tank will be gone. I'm going to turn the lights back off on this tank because I think they're still kind of sleeping. So we're going to keep that light off. I don't want to disturb them. And we'll turn this light off too, but that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, this is the updates of the tanks I have. I want to do these two to get them out of the way because I know this tank's going to be gone, and we still want to put a beta in this tank. But the real reason why I did this tank to show you guys how you create an ecosystem, how you could fix your tank without scrubbing. I know people who I kind of do some maintenance on the side. I don't have a business yet, but we're going to get a business. I'll go to people's houses, and they'll be crystal clear. Like, crystal clear. No algae. Nothing. And you see, like, all the tools hanging down. Scrub. And the fish die. Why did the fish die, we think? So here's the reason why. The fish die when you clean so much of your tank and you get rid of all the bacteria. There's bacteria that you need on all your surfaces. Okay? So you want to keep the stuff in the tank. Now, obviously, your most bacteria are going to stick to your filtration. Mechanical or biological, whatever you got in there. That's where your bacteria sits. But you also get bacteria on the rocks. So if you take everything out and scrub everything down every single week, and you go into your gravel and you scrub your gravel and you go crazy, that's when you lose all your bacteria, you lose your ecosystem. You want things in there that when they do eat the algae, they're still creating waste. Okay, the waste is going into your bacteria. It's creating your cycle or keeping your cycle going. Everything happens for a reason. So I don't mess with the gravel because I did have some trumpet snails in here that ate a lot of stuff in the gravel, so I don't really mess around. A lot of my tanks do have trumpet snails anyway, so I don't really do a lot with gravel vac. I just don't. I just keep it the way it is. And this is actually kind of difficult, a different substrate. It's the blasting sand. It's very, very fine, so I don't do a lot with it. Sometimes I will get in there if I notice that there's maybe ammonia spike, but I very rarely have an ammonia spike. So, and like I said, don't be afraid to buy something to everyone's like, that's not a good idea. You're taking care of it. You're just masking the problem. No, you're not really masking the problem, because you're giving that animal something to eat and something to do. And when you do run out of algae, you could always move them to multiple tanks, or find out what they eat. You could also feed them zucchini. You got wood in there. There's other things they can eat. They can eat stuff off the bottom. The ram's horn snails are great for eating wasteful food. If you want a great snail to do that. I even see nurse snails digging into the dirt, into the fine sand too. If you have a fine, like I like to keep a lot of fine substrate in all my tanks. The only one that doesn't have a fine is the angelfish tank, which just rocks and sand. I don't even touch the substrate in that one, but I also got geophagus that can go in the sand and dig the stuff out. So I don't really touch this tank either. The geophagus clean that one. That one I really don't have anything, but there's not a lot of fish in there, so I don't have a lot of waste in the bottom. This one, obviously, the ram's horns. I got the ram's horns in the guppy tank. They eat all that go through the gravel. That's a fine gravel. So, like I said, you try to find everything that can take care of your cleaning, so you don't have to spend much time in your fish room, especially during the summertime, because you don't want to do a lot of maintenance in the summertime. At least I don't. I want to be outside doing stuff. So that's it, guys. That's how I keep my tanks. You can see this tank it's cleared up pretty good. We still got a little bit left to do, but if I do notice that there's the snails shells not looking good, or it's not much, they don't look so great, I'll move them to different tanks. But you know, once they finish eating that, as long as if you keep your lights on and keep a good flow, there's always going to be algae in this tank. There's still a bunch of algae in the filter, on the rocks. So obviously there's wood. So that's the way you do it, guys. When you put a tank together, and depending on what kind of fish you have, you know, you want to do a bottom feeder, you want to do algae eater, you want to do if there's a problem with black algae, you could get a Siamese algae eater or a flying fox. There's so many different ways you could do it. My favorite way to keep down waste and algae are snails. There's autocinclus, there's other stuff you can buy, but my favorite snails, best bottom feeders for me are cories, and you can put cories with smaller fish. Like I could put, you know, 6 cories in here if I wanted to. I love cories. I got a bunch of cories in here, in those 2 tanks there. I got a bunch of cories. So, and that tank 55 gallon, I've always had cories. They're really good bottom feeders. Pictus, Pseudodontis, you can get some. Those guys will eat at night when or Raphael catfish we have in here. He'll eat all the bottom stuff. I don't know if you can see him in there. He's hiding somewhere, but he eats all the bottom stuff too. I can't even find him in there. But anyway, Raphael catfish. There's a bunch of catfish you can buy that will eat algae. So that's the way we do it, guys. That's the update. I'll be updating you guys in about another week or so on the other tanks. Once we get another tank to replace over there, we'll do an update video on that. But for now, this is Chris signing off. Remember, if you can't own them, rehome them. If you have any comments, comment, share, like, all that good stuff. I really like the comments too. You guys can comment to me and I'll comment back. So, until next time, we'll see you guys.